Pastor Mark Biltz here from Shaddai Ministries. Thank you again so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe and share. Also, please like this video, and we would love to hear your comments. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye. With that said, let's go to chapter 13 now, Leviticus 13. You have that on your notes, verse 1 through 3. The Lord now tells Moses and Aaron, saying, when a man shall have a rising in his body's skin, or a scab, or a bright spot, and it becomes in the skin of his body the plague of leprosy, he shall social distance. No, it says, of leprosy, it says, then he shall be brought to Aaron the priest, or to one of his sons, the priest. And what does the priest do? He examine the plague. And if the hair in the plague is turned white, and the appearance of the plague is deeper than the body skin, it is the plague of leprosy. And then it says, and the priest shall examine him again and pronounce him what? Unclean. Unclean. Okay, the Hebrew word for plague, negah, you see the nun, gimel, ayin. Guess what? It also can be in English as the word to be struck or smitten. For example, how many of you know Isaiah 53? When I say Isaiah 53, that's talking about the suffering servant. Listen to verse 4. It says, surely, and this is speaking of the Messiah, he has borne our sickness, carried our suffering, yet we considered him what? Struck by God and afflicted. That word struck there is the same Hebrew word as the word for plague. It means to receive a wound, a stroke. Now, what's interesting, in Jewish literature from several thousand years ago, they said, what is going to be the name of the Messiah? And the rabbi said, well, he is going to be the leper scholar. As it is said, surely he's borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him a leper. So they're saying, wow, so the Messiah is going to be a leper who's going to be smitten by God and afflicted. Now, the word can refer to being stricken as if, how many of you know you could be stricken with a disease? You following me? Okay. Well, either way, what do we know? Yeshua was stricken. He was certainly stricken with a Roman whip. He was stricken with a fist. He was stricken with the reed. We find in John 19, verse 1, it says, so Pilate then took Yeshua and flogged him. And then in verse 3, they said, hail the King of the Jews, and they smote him with their hands. Look at Luke 22, 63 and 64. The men who held Yeshua mocked him and beat him. Having blindfolded him, they struck him on the face and asked him, prophesy, who was the one who struck you? In Matthew 27:30, they spit on him and took the reed and smote him on the head. So here we see the Messiah himself was the leper scholar, knowing all about being struck and smitten and flogged. Okay, now, just as a leper was despised and rejected of men, so the Messiah was despised and rejected. Now, here's what's interesting. It also states in ancient Jewish literature, they say in the Garden of Eden there is a palace, which is called the palace of the sons of sickness. And this palace, the Messiah enters and summons every sickness, every pain, every chastisement, they all come and rest upon him.